See how well we can do with this. There you go. Welcome back to the garage, everyone. Change of plans, don't you know? So I finished all of the, if you noticed in the last video, I was cleaning and disassembling and refurbishing all of the lifters to the best of my ability. And they turned out really well. However, I would say probably 4 or 5 of them are kind of questionable. I've made a decision. As opposed to me, not the machinist being, making a decision as to whether or not they are good to go or not. In other words, like, well, I think I'll replace these 4, and then one of the others is still bad. I'm not qualified to make that choice. I'm just not. I have learned in the last few days that lifter refacing or resurfacing is in fact a thing. And up until about a week ago, I had no clue that that even existed. I'm not a hot rodder. I'm not a machine guy. I'm not an engine guy. I did know about the whole flat tappet lifter fiasco thing over the last few years. I don't think there's any one smoking gun related to all of that. It's probably a combination of factors. You know, antiquated technology, lack of good workers, poor product from overseas, faces not being ground correctly at the manufacturer, lack of an experienced workforce, antiquated technology that is falling by the wayside. People are losing sight of the knowledge. For you young guys, the older you get, the more you'll realize that the stuff that you think is ubiquitous now, one day won't. And then you'll find that you're the old fart in the room. Trust me, that's going to happen. Anyway, I am digressing like nobody's business. So, I've decided to take these lifters and send them off to get resurfaced. And that's what I'm doing today. Every single one of them. I'm going to take it out of its oily paper towel. And we're going to wrap it up in some paint paper. Thusly, lay it in the box, and we're going to ship it off to the resurfacer. I'm not going to give you their name just yet. I'm going to wait till they come back, and I'm going to take a look at them to see how well the whole job went. And then we'll give them either the high five or the low down. I don't know which is going to happen, but we're going to find out. So anyway, that's what I got going on right now. I'm going to get these in a box. We're going to ship them off to the cam grinder. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the main project for this weekend, which is removing the heads from this old Cadillac. But before we rip the heads off our Cadillac, I've got a little something from our friends at probably, well, I'd probably have to say they're the favorite engine parts vendor for the Cadillac 472, 500, 425, and 368, and that would be the CAD company. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they sent. And let's see what the old invoice sheet. All right, valve spring kits, stage 1, part number VT33111. OE size performance spring kit, single spring with dampener, .530 maximum lift. This will accommodate, which we're not going to be utilizing that. Includes retainers, lock shims, and Viton valve seals. With shipping, $137.56. I dare say, if you had to price all of that stuff, if you could find it for a Cadillac engine, it would be equal to or more than that amount. That includes shipping, of course, especially springs. I did look on Rock Auto. You can find stock springs. I think they're milling. Don't know where they're made, however. Anyway, let's just dive into this package here. Scope it out real quick. I think this is the first thing I've ordered from them. I can't recall. Why are you giving me a hard time? Boy, they packed it well. There we go. All right. One pack of shims for the new valves. We may or may not use those. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to go with the stock install height. The install height on the stock Cadillac is a 1.9, and with a spring pressure somewhere in the mid-60s, 60 pounds that is. Now these have a sort of a more conventional retainer. What else do we have? We have umbrella seals. Stock Cadillac doesn't use umbrella seals. It has sort of a shroud that goes around the valve stems. Anyway, so again, we'll get into all that as we start to tear into this thing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Do they have a top and a bottom? They look the same to me. Man, what a pretty blue color, don't you think? Bet you'd never hear that on a YouTube car channel. Let's see, keepers. All right, we got our first onslaught of parts we've received in the mail. I may or may not be buying, well, I probably will be buying some new head bolts and various other sundry items as well. But we'll get into that in a little while. Let's get underneath the car and disconnect the exhaust first. All right, I guess we'll start with the driver's side. There we go. There we go, got the donut thing off of there, so the exhaust manifold should just lift right out, just like magic. All right, so we need to partially disconnect the power steering pump. There's a stud on the end of the head that goes into the power steering bracket. So I'm going to take a couple of fasteners out of this thing and to where I can get this pump moved out a little bit and get that nut off of that stud that goes onto the end of the head. I'm going to move the pump out of the way basically just a little bit. I don't want to disconnect the lines and make a big old mess. So anyway, let me disconnect the pump, move it out of the way, and then we'll move on. Got a couple of 1/2-inch nuts holding this cover to the exhaust manifold. Let's see how lucky we get. Okay, I got both those nuts to loosen up there. So just had to man up on her a little bit. And this car's had a fairly easy life, so fasteners have generally been fairly good to me. Although she was sold up in Ohio, I believe, or as the Southern Ohioans say, Ohio. You know, people in the South tend to steer away from northern cars over the years because the idea is they're all rusted out. Well, in a large part, that's fairly true, but nice stuff, people keep it inside up north, that is, you know, during the winter time. A lot of the nice cars you find are from the north, and they were not driven in the winter, so that's one good way to find a nice classic car. Let's see. There we go. Not a huge deal, okay? I don't know where I found this, but this 3M penetrant needs to be used up. I've had this can for like, I don't know, it's been decades. It's sat in my little shed, which you've never seen, for who knows how long. Let's just see how well this works. This 3M penetrant here, I'm not sure what the part number is, 08876. This is the stinkiest mess. It smells like, I don't know, dog poop and vomit or something. It's nasty. All right, got a 9/16 on this first bolt here. And we're gonna just play nice with it. Yeah, okay. Just a little rapid, you know, jar it loose, you know, a little impact action there. All right, let's try the cheater pipe here. Come on. There we go. Yeah, all right. She's not broken, so that's cool. I guess we'll have to do the cheater pipe on all of them. I'm guessing I'll have to replace a lot of these bolts because they're just going to be too old and too rusty. All right, let me get the rest of these broken free and pulled out of here. We'll get this manifold out of off this engine. Well, we had one casualty. The bolt in the back broke off on me, so we'll be drilling that one out of the head, but all the rest of them were fine. I think it's safe to say we're going to go ahead and replace all these manifold bolts. Get on our good friend McMaster Car website, and we'll just note the length and thread type and all that kind of jazz. And they'll probably have something that'll suit our needs. Because this kind of stuff, anything you get from a salvage yard, or, you know, I doubt anybody's making it new. There might be, you know, some high-end Cadillac places that are remanufacturing every single solitary part. So we might reach out to somebody at Cadillac and LaSalle Club and see what they have to say. Last time I took an exhaust manifold off one of these Cadillac big motors was my 1981 Coupe de Ville with a 368. Yes, it had the infamous V8 6.4, and yes, it worked. Oil pump went out in that car eventually. Not sure why. Sold it for 300 bucks. When was that? 08, might have been. I think it was. I was thinking these engines didn't use an exhaust manifold gasket. I'm sure there's somebody out there going, you did it the wrong way. Well, yeah, you're probably right. You'll get over it, though. Yeah, I think we're home free. Here you go. Come on out of there, you big rascal. All right, there we go. One driver's side exhaust manifold. It's in good shape, actually. It's not cracked. I think these are, you know, they can, you know, these old cast iron manifolds can crack regardless of the make and model of the car. Do a quick eyeball on this thing. Really good shape. I don't see any cracks. I don't see any bad rust or anything like that. And yeah, I guess there's no. I guess these cars just didn't use a gasket. I guess the machine surfaces are, you know, Cadillac style. They're that refined where they simply don't need a gasket. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Well, I guess the next step is to take the head off. All right, time to get these heads off. Heard a little crack there. Well, that sucks. Using the wrong tool, clearly. Well, I heard it pop. I think that generally indicates it's not breaking. But, you know, anything can happen here. All right, went down to Hobo Freight there and picked up one of these massive 3/4 inch drive. It's actually extendable. This old thing here, you know, this moves in and out. It extends out to 39 inches. And picked up some new 1/2 inch drive impact sockets. And I got a 3/4 to 1/2 inch adapter on there. And, well, I'll tell you what, man, this thing here did the trick. I just broke this bolt loose and it went pow! There we go. She's coming loose now. Yes, sir, Bob. What I had cobbled together earlier just wasn't cutting the mustard, so. There we go. Can't recall if I loosened this one yet or not. We're gonna find out though. Oh, we don't want to hit the distributor. There we go. Yeah, that's money well spent right there. That's 98 bucks for that, plus the socket set. I needed some, well, I needed some sockets. So anyway, you'll see something comical. On the ratchet, they put on and off. Silly. Yeah, I loosened that one earlier, apparently. All right, what about the back one? I can't recall. Yeah, I did that one already. I did that with the cheap tools I had, but so it's got a little collar right here. Pull it down, and let me tell you what, that was a good purchase. Really saved me a lot of heartache. Let's go ahead and loosen up the remaining bolts here. All right, I used the impact on one of them that was fairly loose, and that's what they look like. So This one that came out of the end, it goes into the water jacket. You can see a little coolant on it. That bolt looks, well, reusable actually. I can't get this on those two down there. All those top bolts look good. One problematic bolt, it's in a bind or something. Something is going on with that thing. Maybe the head is loose enough now, it's kind of sagging. Alright, I'm guessing the rust on those last two bolts. So I'm making an assumption here. Let's see. But I'm guessing the threads are so rusted up on these two bolts that that's bigger than the idea of this hole here in the head. So that's the reason why they're not, see that one's loose, but I can't pull it out. So I'm just not going to worry about it anymore. Let me go ahead and get the engine hoist over here and we'll pull this head off of the motor. And according to the service manual, it said use a couple of the bolts in the rocker arm assembly for that. So I guess that's what we'll do. All right, let's see how well we do here. Put a little upward pressure on this head. All right, a little tappy tap maybe. Let's see. Don't bang on anything crucial now. Let's try again. Come on now. Picking the engine up, brother. Okay, after some fiddling around and finagling and all that kind of jazz, tapping and all that kind of stuff, you know, boring stuff for the last half an hour. You know, put some tension on it, tap, you know, release, and blah, blah, blah. That's way easier than trying to lift it out of there by yourself, I guarantee. Note to self, do not hit car with the head. All right, I got to lower the front end of the car. I raised the front end of the car just a smidgen to get the wheels of the cherry picker underneath the vehicle. So I just used the lift arms to raise the front of it. That seemed to work out pretty well. Also, I should have drained more coolant out of the engine. And that, so I made a big mess on the floor, but I'm not going to show you that because that's stupid. Anyway. There's one head off. Let's go ahead and get it on the bench over there and let's take a look at what we've got. But let's see. Let's take a look at cylinders here briefly. They feel smooth as a baby's ass. I can't feel any ridge. Or anything. Feel really nice. I had some coolant down in there, had to wipe that out. So got to get some WD-40 in there, and we don't want any rust, you know. All right, see what I was saying about that bolt with a bunch of crud on it. I don't know what that is, but it's nasty, man. Maybe I should have pulled the old engine. Anyway, so this bolt here stuck pretty good. So let's see. God, give me strength. All right, I'll fiddle with that and get that bolt out of there here in a little bit. You know, I don't see any valve recession, I don't think. But clearly we got to get them out of there before we can really get some eyeballs on it and see what's going on. Daggone thing is a beast, boy. It's heavy. I guess I'll go ahead and get this bolt out of here. That's going to be like banging and cussing and stuff. There we go. Okay, wow. There we go. Not sure what that was all about. I don't know what that is. Not gonna worry about it. All right, let's move on. It's time to disassemble this head, so let's dive in. There we go. What's the best way to do this? I don't know. All right, we got one of these valve tools from Harbor Freight here. So we're going to see how well this thing works. Can't be that hard. Basically, you have two size adapters. There's a bigger one and a smaller one. I'm going to use the bigger one because, well, it's a big old Cadillac. So there you go. Basically, screw this thing down thusly and that about right there, because when you clamp this thing shut like that, you want just enough pressure, right, to grip the valve and slightly depress it. But you're going to depress it with this. You're just going to screw that in and it's going to depress the valve, and it's not a huge deal. So just center up this guy here, cinch this down like that, tighten the adjusting screw there, and you'll see the spring will be compressed. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let's do this. Bear with me. Get a little socket here. I'm going to jostle all these valves. You can hear it going boop, boop, boop. You can hear that valve opening up there. Hopefully that little bit of tappy tap will be kind to us and let those keepers come out fairly easily. All right, we'll start again here. Yeah, see how tapping on that just loosened up those keepers, and they just come right out now. So that's what you want to do, tappy tap tap. So I think I may weld a nut on this adjusting screw, because twirling this thing is going to ruin my wrist. There's the traditional Cadillac, and that one's broken. Look at that. So this is like a shroud, and clearly it's not supposed to have a chunk out of it, so that probably ended up in my oil screen. Oh no, there it is. I don't know how long it's been broken, or I wonder if I broke it just now. Have no idea. Anyway, these are all, they're not going to be reused, because and I don't think anybody makes these, to be honest with you. The spring looks good, but I don't know jack about these springs, so whatever. And we got all new stuff anyway, so not a huge deal, okay? That's your valve guide right there. It was pretty crusty, had some crusty stuff on it. The traditional seal that we're all used to seeing is not used on these motors. They use this shroud thing here. And, it does a fine job, according to guys who know a lot more about it than me. Yeah, valve came on out of there easily. This exhaust valve, so it's white, clearly. And I don't know enough about it to be able to say yay or nay as to, how good these are or not. We'll have to measure this seat width here, and we'll measure over here, and make sure it's within spec. If not, we'll have to have new seats put in and all that kind of jazz. I really don't know all that much about it. Playing it by ear. I can say, with my untrained novice eye, right away, I see shiny metal, and then I see dark parts. So that to me says low pitted areas, corrosion of some sort. So you probably can't see that. So I'll get the cell phone down in there. All right, so here you can see the low places in this valve seat. I'm assuming that's low places, because that's where the little dark places are. A little pitting, corrosion maybe over the years, who knows, I'm not sure. Hopefully all that'll get cleaned up when we lap the valves in. So, and then if we take a look at these, bad or ridiculous. I don't see any gouges or pitting or anything like that. I think they'll clean up just fine. So anyway, let me go ahead and get a box and some holes in it so I can hold all these valves in order, and then we'll continue on with removing all the rest of them. All right, got ourselves a little box here and got some circles and arrows and pictures and numbers and all that kind of jazz. And all this stuff here can just go in a bucket, I reckon. And let's move on to the next one. Let's see what this one looks like. That retainer. Interesting. That one's intact. It's still pliable. You can see this intake valve has a ridge of carbon built up there. So all that'll get cleaned off. This seat looks okay to me, but then again, what do I know? Job was in order, I do believe. All right, got the silicone goop off the intake ports there, and almost forgot about the fact that we got to drill a bolt out. Yay! All right, so on the back side, where was it? The one in the back. At least it's not on the engine. I have had to do this on a vehicle before. It is not fun. And it's recessed down below the level of the hole. That's always a joyous occasion. So if you've ever had to deal with this sort of thing, you will probably know that there is no one-trick pony here. Okay? What that means is there's no one best way to get out a broken stud. There just isn't. There's just, you've got like a toolbox of things that you can use, and some of them work and some of them don't. That's just the way it goes. Usually we'll put a dimple in the middle there, and we'll start off with a small drill bit and drill a small hole, and then you do a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger, and you get an easy out and hopefully twist it out. So that's pretty much the process. We'll see how well we do. In all of this, however, do not break off drill bits down inside here. It'll just make everything that much harder. So. You almost never get your little drift point perfectly center in the bolt. You know, that's a pretty tough thing to do. So just hit it several times and kind of come back here and here at various angles, and that way you can kind of pound out a hole in the middle, or about as close to the middle as you can. So, and let's put a little stinky 3M stuff on there. That bit sucks. Let's try this thing, this step bit. Let's see if we can get us a hole started here. Yeah, we're getting somewhere now. Maybe. we're doing something. We're making some progress. If I was to go out on a limb, I would probably say this is the most unfun piece of automotive hobbying that a man could take part in. See that? We're making a hole. This one's a little bit bigger. Good bit sharper too, apparently. It'll be a while, but you know, we'll get there. Yeah. All right, so what is that? That's a 30 seconds. Now what you need to do is use one of these cheap Chinese easy out so it'll break off in there. All right, I have some of these Hercules bits, these long ones, these 6 inches from Harbor Freight. And believe it or not, these are actually pretty good. And I forgot I had them. This is a 3/16. And watch it break off. So. See there? Like butter. Hercules 6-inch bits at Harbor Freight. These things are all right. I'm telling you, they're good bits. Might just end up just drilling the damn thing out completely without using an easy out. All right, I got a pretty big bit here. It's not as big as the hole, but it's pretty close to the bolt size. So it's digging in, but it's just stubborn. It just does not want to release. Let's see how well we can do with this. There you go. We didn't break the easy out. We broke the other doohickey. Goodness gracious. That's the way it goes sometimes. All right, I got a 5/16 bit here. That's the biggest you can go before you start digging into threads. Sure. All right, so I'm, you know, some of the screw is still in there, so it's like a thin sheet of screw left. So I'm going to take a 5/16 tap, 5/16 by 18 tap, and just kind of, you know, dig some of the screw out. And, you know, what's the worst that could happen? All right, I'm basically winding this thing on down in there pretty easily now. So that was, you know, I'm not going to say it was a success. It was possible. How about that? So, you know, this is, see this, so you can put that in that hole, right? So we're not, in theory, digging into the other threads. So, well, I guess we'll just go for the gusto. Where's the 3/8 by 16 tap? All right, I ran that bit down in there. That is the 5/16. See, it goes in there like that. Well, I'll be ready to finish this video up after this damn fiasco. All right, I cut new threads down in there. I don't know how straight it is, so I'm gonna have to see what it looks like. It's a little down. It's not quite as straight as. Well, let's see how well we screwed this thing up. Thankfully, it's not a precision piece. It's just a manifold. Yeah, that's the ticket. All right, I got 2 bolts in. How about that? Yeah. I was a little too hard on myself, apparently. That feels pretty good. Worry not, for worry is the something inspiration. Now we can clean the head. All right, we're back. It's the next day and it's time to start cleaning up the head. And got various things. This is what we got. We've got some clean strip mineral spirits in a container here. Actually, the container I was using for the lifters. So I'm going to spend probably, I don't know how long, cleaning this thing. But I'm going to clean it first. And then eventually we'll get around to doing a valve lapping job. I've got the business end of the head sitting on a piece of wood, by the way. So I'm just kind of paranoid that way. That's what I'm doing right now. And I think we'll probably speed this up and maybe play some music. You know, not sure. I think I'll probably turn on the shop radio. Let's do that. Alright, so we're going to take a break in action from the head cleaning here. So I've got pretty far. I still need to finish getting the head surface completely done, however. So still have more work to do on that. But right now, I think I've got this thing cleaned up well enough where I can start to lap some valves in without making too much of a mess. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let's go ahead and switch over and start cleaning up the valves on this driver's side head. Let's try to clean up some valves here. So this is number 8 exhaust. Gonna do something a little provocative here. And we're just gonna gently chuck the tip in. Let's see, let's give it a quick burst here. I'm just going to grip it right there, you know, where the keepers would normally be anyway, so it's not like we're not going to touch this part down here, you know. So and let's see how well we can do with this. My first thought was to just put this in the chem dip. But I was just trying to figure out something quick and easy, you know. Those white deposits from the exhaust valve are... This is working, but it's a little slower than I thought it might be. All right, I've just been playing around since I've never done this before, and got this brass wire wheel. And I know that might seem a little provocative for the valves, but trust me, I'm being extremely careful. Just kind of coming in here, you know, on the dark part there, just to, you know, very gently. And wanted to get that build-up corrosion off the. I'm not touching this part here where the valve slides. I'll probably hit that with some Scotch-Brite eventually with a little bit of oil or something to brighten it up. I got the wire wheel on the bottom side of the valve and got that all cleaned up. It's really pretty. I can't speak for the rest of them, but just that little bit of cleaning, you know, it looks good to my eye anyway. So whether or not the measurements are going to pan out, I really couldn't tell you. But since I'm just experimenting right now, I'm going to throw this off in the bucket of Chem Dip and see what it looks like in an hour. That's the intake valve, number 8 there, cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to put it in the Chem Dip as well, and there you go. On the stamped on the other side of it is GM E1IN. I have no idea. I know what the GM means, but I don't know what E1 and then IN. What does that mean? End of an era 1, made in Indiana? I don't know what that means. You guys comment down below. Tell me what that means. Have no clue. All right, we're going to put this in the Chem Dip too. We'll be back here in about an hour and we'll see what we get. All right, let's see how well we're doing over here in the cooking juice. Well, it's prettier. Probably got most of the stuff off of there with the brass wheel, actually. So I'm not too sure if Chem Dip is going to be, you know, how beneficial it's going to be. Still got that little bit of dark carbon right there on the back side of the valve. I'll just hit that with the wire wheel and zip that off of there. Take a look at the exhaust valve here. All right, note to self, Chem Dip and engine valves, not really beneficial. So this is perfectly fine as it is. I don't need to do anything else to this valve. Maybe polish it a little more with some Scotch-Brite. But I think we're probably ready to try to lap it. Let's try to lap these valves and see what kind of condition our valve seats are going to end up in. All right, that's after getting on the drill press with a little bit of a WD-40 and a Scotch-Brite pad. So yeah, cleaned up real nice, didn't it? But anyway, you see that little bit of, you know, a little bit of pitting. I guess it's pitting there on the valve sealing surface. So hopefully the lapping will take care of all that. O'Reilly had VersaChem metal grinding compound, coarse and fine. And they also had Permatex valve grinding compound. This doesn't actually say valve grinding compound, but it does have a picture of somebody doing the thing right there. So, which one? I don't know. I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to use the fine. I'm going to start with the fine. Just because I don't know any better. And we'll just see how well we do. Take note, this is not a lesson in how to do valve lapping, okay? It's just not. If you want to learn something, go talk to a real machinist. All right, here we go. I got this from Amazon. That's a Lyle with a fake wood handle, no doubt. Get a little compound on our valve here. 3 little dabs. Let's just try that. Yeah, we'll go for the small suction cup. There we go. Alright, how well did we do? I got the seat on the head a little shinier. Makes a nice clattering sound, doesn't it? Let's go for the coarse paste. Let's do that. I think what this is just grease with some silicon carbide in it. I think that's really all it is. Yeah, you can hear it it's doing more. All right, we're gonna get our tool back in the center. There we go. Well, it's working. All right, it's the next day. Finished up last night and then got up this morning and, well, basically just sat on my rump and watched the TV and watched the presidential inauguration. And anyway, here it is, January the 20th in the afternoon. We got back out to the shop here. So we lapped these 2 valves here on number 8 and turned out pretty well. And got a nice gray, solid gray line all the way around the valve, and that's what you want to see. Same here for the intake. Nice gray line that is the width of the seat. If you come over here, you see a nice dull gray finished appearance on the seat there. I think there's one little dark spot right there. I may come back in here and hit these, you know, for a couple more minutes and just see if I can get it spot on. But it's looking really good. Put a little oil on that. Sound. Sounds really good. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the rest of my days lapping valves, I guess. So I'm not going to make you guys watch all that mess. You're not going to learn anything from me in that regard. It's not really that difficult. You just don't want to go hog wild and damage anything. You know, you want to take your time and do a little bit at a time and inspect it, and you know, because you don't want to cut too deep, and that'd be bad. So my immediate plans are lap all these valves and then finish cleaning up this head. That's probably going to come in the form of a spinny brush down in these ports here to get all the remaining carbon out. And then I've got a sink over in the house garage. Should be able to fill that with hot soapy water and you know, give this thing a good scrubbing. And then we'll bring it back in the shop here and we'll hose it down with the air, and then we'll coat it in WD-40. And then eventually it'll get a paint job in Cadillac blue. So that's the general plan here. But I want to go ahead and close this video out for the weekend. I want to get video out each weekend. That's kind of my goal here. So that's what we got going on. But as I told you earlier, the lifters in this old Cadillac have been shipped off to a cam grinder to get resurfaced. Now the plan is, after I get this guy ready to reinstall on the engine, before I do that, I'm going to get a dial indicator gauge, and I'm going to take the newly refurbished lifters and I'm going to put them in their appropriate holes on the driver's side, and I'm going to measure every lobe on the camshaft on the driver's side to make sure that all of the lift there is proper and good to go. And then once I do that, I'll go ahead and reinstall this head and get it situated on the engine. Then we'll move on to the other head. We'll yank it off. We'll put in the passenger side lifters. We'll do the same deal, and we'll use the dial indicator gauge to check the lobes on the passenger side. If it comes up and all the lobes on the camshaft are good to go, it's got the proper lift, that cam will stay in the engine. If not, if I find one that's a little off, I don't know what my tolerance is going to be though. Probably not much. If I find one that's a little off, the cam's going to come out and we'll get an upgrade. So, you know, I'm not sure what sort of camshaft I would get. Probably just a basic, maybe like an RV cam or something like that. But CAD company, they got plenty to choose from, so you never can tell. Hopefully, we won't have to deal with all that. The cam will measure out just fine, and we'll just leave it right in the engine. I just don't want to tear into that front of that motor and yank the cam out. I just don't want to do all that work. I really don't. But we will if we need to. So, all right, folks, I'm going to wrap this video up. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below underneath that head somewhere. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy restoring, driving, and maintaining your classic Cadillac.